Shalom family, and welcome back to Hebrew Chronicles Publishing. On today's segment, I'm going to be showing you how to play Shalom. All right, so it's going to be a tutorial. It's going to be different, I would say 3 phases. All right, so we're going to show you the setup. Then we're going to show you how to conduct the beginning of the game. And then we're going to show you how to deploy beasts and attack. All right, so first thing you want when it comes to your setup is your deck. Right? Your deck can be between 45 and 55 cards. Okay? So we run about 15 beasts. We run 15 arsenal cards. And we run about 17 offering cards. All right? So the limit is 15 beasts, 15 arsenal cards, and 20 offering cards. Now you want to run, I would say, a balance between 15 and 20. The balance to me is 15, 15, 15. And the reason why is because you don't want to draw too many offering cards. You don't want to draw not enough offering cards. The offering cards, of course, is key to being able to bring forth beasts on the battlefield. All right. So 15, 15, 15. That's my balance. But you can have up to 15 arsenal cards, 20 offering cards, and up to 15 beasts limit. The least you can have is 13 beasts. And the least you can have is 10 arsenal cards. 10 through 15, 13 between 13 and 10, and between 15 and 20. All right. So you want to have at least the minimum, right, covered. But you also want to make sure you don't actually put too many. And it depends on what you run. So I'm going to start off with my offering cards. I run about, I would say 15. 15 rams, which is new. These are not released yet. And then I run 2. So that would be 14 actually, because I have 17 cards. So 14, 15, 16, and 17. 1 ram. 2 goats, 1 lamb. Right? Now, of course, this is the old one. This is going to be discontinued. We're going to have newer offering cards, mainly the goats and the lamb. All right. So these 2 really are the newest. All right. When it comes to the goats, and the lamb is going to actually be a better one. All right. It's more going to be a lamb is morally a cub, small baby sheep, right? Then we have 15 arsenal cards in this deck and 15 beasts. So let's show you the setup. Now, of course, this is the game map. All right. Now, your deck will go here, top of the Shalom symbol. All right. Then you have your guard column. This is where your beasts will actually do battle. These beasts here are in the front guard. This is called your guard column, all 3. Left, right, and your mid guard. All right. This is your guard column. This is your rear support, mainly used for blocking. Okay. You have your guard column, and you can call this a defense column. So this is your rear support. These 3 are shield columns. You put, let's say for instance, you want to block. You can actually use this column to place your cards to block, or you can place shield arsenal cards here. Okay. And this here is your arsenal column. This is where you actually play arsenal cards to defend yourself or to activate cards to gain you an advantage, right? And this is your inward column. Once per turn, you're able to place a card that you don't need in your hand into your inward column, but it has to be either a beast or offering card. Arsenal cards do not go in here unless they're placed in here by card effect. meaning beast cards or arsenal cards. Arsenal, let's say you activate an arsenal card, says you can actually place one card, meaning it doesn't actually give you a description of which one. Place one card from your grave and move it to your inward column, meaning you can actually move an arsenal card in, right? But mainly this inward column is really jail, so it's mainly used to place offering and beast cards in. This is your grave. This is the column that cards go to when cards are either discarded, beasts are defeated, or arsenal activate. After they're activated, goes in here. So you activate an arsenal card. After its effect is activated, then it goes here to your grave, right? This column here is a arsenal column, but it's only really used for province cards. Now there are actually arsenal cards that are activated, that are standard, that are activated as province cards. So they will also be placed in here, but it just depends on the effect, right? This is your UG column. UG cards are placed in here once per turn. Like you can place one UG in this column. And the reason why you want to do that is to actually be able to structure your hand. Say for instance, your opponent activates an arsenal card that forces you to discard all cards in your hand. If you placed your UG in your UG column, it's safer, right? Because when those cards are going to the graveyard, this one's already in there that you placed, right? Now, companions, this is a companion column. This column here, all of the companion cards go here. They don't go in the main deck. UGs do. They're shuffled in the main deck. But the companions are placed here at the start of the game. All right. So guard column, rear support, arsenal column, province, inward, grave, shields, UG, companion, and the deck goes here. All right. Let's move on. This is just an area where you place your dice, right? And this is your turn marker. I would say this is your turn marker. Technically this is your turn marker. This is your function meter. Your function meter and the turn marker really go hand in hand, because this keeps track of the turn you're in, and this when you move your dice over it, controls the function you're in. Standby, function step 1. This is the function in which you actually deploy beasts, activate arsenal cards, right? Move cards on the field, right? When you enter your war step, you can no longer do anything outside of battle, okay? Arsenal cards that are activated during the war step can be activated, but those morally are haste cards and really don't have a lot of them, but they can be activated during the war step. However, the war step is mainly for war, right? During your attacks. So when beasts are on the field and they actually declare an attack, you will move them to the left corner. All right, so you just turn it left to its left corner, and that's initiating an attack. This is also when a card is inactive, but we'll go in there in another video. All right, so when a beast is active, they're actually pointed straight up in the active position. Once you declare an attack, they're now at rest, which is also inactive. Okay, so once you go to function step 2, you can activate arsenal cards. You can also move cards. Remember, beasts can only be moved once per turn. Offering cards can only be moved once per turn. We'll go into how to move offering cards in another video. Then you move to the end step and then your standby. End step is pretty much letting everyone know that you've ended your turn. And then once you're in your turn, you go to standby and then turn the turn marker. Every turn, the turn marker will actually go up to a higher number. Once you go to 6, that is the last number of your dice, which allows you to play beasts with higher numbers. Remember, if you're in your 6th turn, you can actually deploy a beast with an offering cost of 6 or lower. Now, we're going to go into the stats and turns shortly. All right, so once you actually pass your 6th turn, this will go here, and you will move this to your function meter. Now, once you're in FX, which that's what this is, now you can deploy any beast, you can convoke any beast. Now, a beast can be convoked regardless of its offering cost, as long as you have sufficient offering cost to support it. And we'll go on that in a few as well, right? So this lets you know that any beast can be deployed. But if you have, let's say for instance, this meter here, your TM is 5. That means beasts with an offer cost of 4 or lower and 5 or lower can actually be deployed. However, this meter is not actually this meter is not actually in play when you're actually placing UGs on the field. Now, if you convoke a beast, let's say for instance you convoke a beast with an offering cost of 6, you want to place a beast on the field that is 6 when you're on your 5th turn. You can't do it. This is a restrictor, meaning you can actually tell how powerful your opponent's cards are and how powerful your cards are that are played based upon the turn marker. So if you look at your opponent's turn marker, you say, okay, I'm in my 4th turn, they're in their, that means they're going to be in their 5th turn on their turn. The highest beast they can actually place on the field is an OC4 or OC5, excuse me, OC5. So you can actually structure your style of play around that using a strategy. So this actually lets you know how the strongest beast you can actually put on the field for your offering cost. All right. Now let's get into the beast stats. Here we have a beast with all 3 stats. Don't really have a lot of those when you go up in power, right? So this is actually a standard beast card, all right? He has 3 columns down here. He has the offering column. This is your offering cost column. This is your skill column. And this is your attack column or assault column. Assault power, skill, and offering cost. When it comes to deploying beasts, you're going to look at your offering cost, right? Remember I was talking about the meter. That means this beast can't be played until the 3rd turn. But once you're in your 6th turn, you can play technically any beast with an offering cost of 6 or less, right? Now, in order for you to have a beast on the field stronger than this, you have to be in your FX, right? So that's pretty much what this is. Your offering cost works in conjunction with your turn marker. So on the 1st turn, you can't play a beast this strong, right? Offering cost goes into the limits of its strength. The higher the offering cost, the stronger your beast can become. So therefore, when you see a beast with an offering cost of 4, unless he's a captain, his attack and his skill is limited to 4. So look at it this way. Your 4th turn, 5th turn, regardless of the turn, as long as this beast offering cost is 4 or less, its skill and attack is limited to at the highest of 4. Now, if you have a beast with a captain signet, and that's what makes captains so important in a deck. You see the C right there? That stands for captain. This is called a signet. Anytime that you're looking for different types of beasts to structure your deck, you're going to look at the nationality column. Nationality column lets you know if they're an Israelite, if they're an Edomite, if they're an Ishmaelite, regardless of the nation. Then the tribe, then the Shemet, then the family, either Shemitic, Hamitic, or Japhetic, and then the gender, which is male or female, right? So we're going to go to the far left corner and we're going to look at his status. If you notice, this one doesn't have a status. That one's empty. This column has a C in it, meaning it's a captain. When beasts actually have a captain signet, even if their offering cost is 4, you can actually place cards on them to increase their offering cost and attack, and their attacks will exceed 4. Meaning, with a beast like this, again, if his offering cost was pushed up to 4, he can't go higher than that because he doesn't have a captain signet. Captains are the only ones outside of beasts with royal. See that one actually has a crown. You have the crown and the C. The crown and the C lets you know these cards can exceed the card limit, the column limit, the restrictions. The restrictions go from 4, 7, and 9. Meaning if you can surpass all of those, you can go to the next level. So 4 or less, 7 or less, 9 or less. Anytime you go above 9, now the attack and the skill can become infinite. So you can block infinite and you can attack infinite, right? That means your attack can go beyond 10, 9, whatever, right? So you want to make sure you have at least 1, but you can have as a limit up to standard beasts 3. So you can have up to 3 captains, but only 1 captain actually can be on the field per turn with the same status. So not only, we'll go into status evaluations in another video, but you have a gold captain and you have a silver captain, all right? You can only have up to 1 gold captain in your deck, but you can have 3 captains at the limit, regardless of whatever they are in one deck, right? So now that you actually seen the setup and everything when it comes to turn markers and all of that, let's give you a brief showing of how the deck's supposed to run and actually how you're supposed to conduct your turns and everything, all right? So let's say we're gonna play a mock battle. First thing you want to do, starting out, is shuffle your deck, you and your opponent. The purpose of shuffling your deck is to mix your cards up so you can actually get a pretty good balance of cards, and also so everyone knows you're not cheating, right? Then you and your opponent will place your cards there and you will cut each other's deck. You will cut your opponent's, and your opponents will cut yours. Doesn't matter how you cut it, just as long as the cards are cut. And then when they're cut, you place them where the deck goes, right? Now each player at the beginning, prior to any steps, will draw 5 cards, right? Both players draw 5. And now it's just going to be called the mulligan phase. All right, the first phase of the game is the mulligan. You're going to look at your hand and you're going to see if these are the cards that you want. You can only do this once per game, right? Well, I would say once a match. A match is 1-on-1, and then a duel is actually multiple, which is funny. Because when you watch Yu-Gi-Oh, they be like, it's time to duel, but they only actually play 1 match. You're like, I thought a duel was consist of 2, best out of 3. You know, but yeah, it's neither here or there. So you look at, during your mulligan phase, you look at your hand, you're like, okay, I like these, but this is too early. I don't really need this now because you can only use this with a captain anyway. And I won't be able to use my captain until my 4th turn. And most likely I won't need this by that time. So I'll place this at the bottom of my deck. Now, if I actually wanted 2 cards, I'll place 2 cards at the bottom, or however you want to put your whole deck at the bottom, it's cool. You can just draw that same amount from the top, but you'll start off with 5 cards. So I place 1 card at the bottom of the deck, leaving 4, so I draw 1. So I got actually 3 offering cards. I'm going to show you how to use these, right? Without offering cards, you can't deploy beasts. I'm going to show you step by step how this is done. So now, I look at my hand, I say, okay, I'm going to keep my hand. My opponent, I'm going to wait on my opponent. When they say they're going to keep their hand, I say, okay, now we're going to conduct rolling to see who goes first. I roll a 6, so most likely I'll be going first. This is always going to start off at 1. Your opponent is always going to your opponent also is going to start off at 1. So now you're going to pick up your hand, and by this being your first turn, you'll draw an additional card for the start of your turn. Moving to the function step 1. So let's put this back. We're in standby, right? We'll move to function step 1 and conduct our draw phase. I like to place all my cards close together based upon types. So the first thing you want to do is look at your hand and see what you got. I got a beast with an offer cost of 2, meaning he can't come on the field until the second turn, right? But the first thing you want to do anyway is place an offering card on the field. The offering card is going to have a number also. Most of them are 2s. The Rams, I would say the goats is 4, and then you have what is called the lamb, which is a support of infinite, meaning it can hold anything. But these numbers you want to accumulate every turn, and they're going to add as support to the beast. See what I'm saying? All right, so now we're going to look at, okay, so this is my first turn. I don't actually have a beast with an OC1 in my hand, so I can't really deploy a beast on my first turn. So I just played that, and I'm going to end my turn. This slides down to end step, turn to 2, standby. Now it's your opponent's turn. They're going to conduct their cards the same way. Let's say, for instance, my opponent does have a card they can play. Now, most likely they're going to place a card in their rear support and place the beast in the rear support. Why? Because any beast that's placed in the guard column can be attacked. And a beast with an OC1 most likely can't endure attacking. They're morely for defensive cards, and they're to activate function commands. And we'll actually go in there in another video. But this time, we're just going to show you the function of how cards are used. So they placed the offering card, they placed the beast card on their field. Now they're going to end their turn. Now we're in our function step 1, turn 2, draw. We drew a beast with an OC3. So of course we can't deploy him on our second turn, but we can deploy him. But the first thing we want to do is place an offering card in our rear support. So then we can now deploy this beast. If you notice, the support and the offering cost is the same. Therefore, it supports the beast. Now, because he's in my rear support, if my opponent deploys a beast in their guard column and attack me, I have no defense. I'm going to show you how to set up for defense. The first thing I like to do is set up my defenses first, then my attacks. Why? Because most likely the beast with a higher attack will be beast with a higher offering cost, right? Plus, you want to set up your defenses first anyway. Now, when this beast, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll go into function commands in another video. I just want to show you how to, deploy beasts. So I deployed him into rear support. I placed an offering card in my rear support. Now I'm going to end my turn. Turn that to 3. This goes to standby. And that goes every turn, it goes up and up and up until it gets to 6. Once after 6 turn, then you move this down. I'm going to go all the way up though, so you can actually see what it looks like when you go all the way up, right? All right, here we go. Opponent places an offering card in their guard column. They deploy a beast with an offering cost of 2 on the field. And let's say because we went first, their offering cost and their attack is both 2, kind of similar to him. And they attack me, right? If a beast is in the mid guard, when they attack, they're going to do 2 damage. If they're in the left or right guard column, right or left, they do 1 damage, right? So the main one, your main attacking column, really, you want to actually strengthen is the mid guard. Because not only this, it gains the advantage of being able to attack your opponent's left, right, or mid guard. But the beast that's in the right column or left column can only attack the column in front. The mid guard can attack either or. All right, so this is really your power column. So you want to really stack as much as you can. So now it's our third turn. Function step 1, we draw. Ooh, we just drew Abner, highest level captain, but we don't want to start with him yet. First thing, place an offering card on the field. Now the support is 4. But we're going to deploy a beast with an offering cost of 3. We can't bring Abner on the field anyway because it's the 3rd turn. His offering cost is 4, meaning he can't come on the field until the next turn anyway. So we haven't deployed yet. We're going to deploy him, right? And when he comes on the field, his command activates, but we're not going to go into that. His attack is 2, skill is 2, offering cost 3. Now, if my opponent actually has a beast with these stats here, I can't attack him. Why? Because when you conduct an attack, the first thing you want to do is move down to the war step and then turn your card to the left. You're going to be looking at your attack or assault column and matching it with your opponent's. If your attack and your opponent's attack is the same, whoever is attacking wins that fight. However, this comes in secondary. Skills. If my attack, let's say for instance, my attack is 2, my opponent's attack is 2, but his skill is 3, that means he will lose that fight if I battle him. Just look at it as a fight, right? You're in a battle. If your attacks are equal, let's say for instance your strength and my strength is equal, the only outcome is skill next. If I can outskill my opponent, regardless of my strength and their strength being equal, I can dominate him or her. Well, if it's a battle, right? If I can actually attack my opponent with the same attack, then my skill will come in secondary. If my skill is higher than my opponent's, then I'll win that battle. But if I attack my opponent and their skill is higher than mine, I would lose, even though the attacks are mutual. Now, if the attack is higher than the opponent, but their opponent's skill is higher than mine, their skill is not in the void, because now the main factor is the attack. The skill only comes in handy when the attacks are mutual, right? So I'm not going to attack because my opponent most likely has a card like this with a skill higher than mine. So what I'm going to do, which is pretty bad, but is going to keep my opponent from being able to attack me. I can't block with this because he has no skill. So I have to take in consideration of that. So what I'm going to do is activate an arsenal card. Now these cards, you can activate these as many times as you want in one turn. Doesn't really matter. As long as you do it within the phase in which it can be conducted in. Arsenal cards can be activated during your function step 1, war step, and function step 2s. Now this type can only be activated during the function step 1 or function step 2. But the second version of these is called a haste arsenal card, meaning it can be activated during either turn or either phase, right? But the abilities of these cards can only be conducted based upon the turn, the function it's in. But some cards actually say this card can only be activated during your function step 2, but if it doesn't actually say what function it actually can be activated in, you can activate it in any function. But this one can only be activated during function step 1 and function step 2 because it's not a haste. This is a standard arsenal card. So I activate this, and it reads that you target a beast your opponent controls, and then you place and you look at the card in your hand. You discard the card in your hand, and the card that actually you target has to have an offering cost that is equal to or higher. If it's higher, it targets and destroys that beast, right? Now, since that beast is no longer in the guard column, and I move to the war step, I can attack my opponent's menorah life, and it will take 2 damage. 1, 2. That's how that goes. So, seeing that I discarded my strongest beast, now I'll actually have to look at another way of taking advantage, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to end my turn and see what card I can get next. Now, let's say, for instance, they deploy another beast with an offering cost of, let's say, 3, Their attack is 2, but they don't have any skill. That means they can't attack me. So, or let's say for instance, they actually have a beast with the same stats. They attack me. I don't actually have anything in my hand that I can guard. Therefore, that beast is defeated and I'll lose 2 damage. So this actually happens all the way. So if a beast actually has an attack power that is mutual, the opponent can be defeated. But if the attack is mutual, then you look at the skill. So now let's go back to 1. Place this back here. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're gonna look at our hand again. All right, so we have 2 beasts. We have 1 offering card, 2 arsenals. This is how I want my hand to look anyway. You want a beast with an OC2, OC3, and this one actually can get a different OC2. A different OC3 or 2, because when he's deployed to the field, you can search your heaven for a beast with an offering cost of 3 or less and add to your hand, right? But like I said, I'm going to go into commands in another video. So I want to do this again so you can actually see the routine. It's pretty simple, right? Mulligan, I'm going to keep my hand. I'm going to wait on my opponent. We're going to roll. I got a 6 again, so I'll just take consideration. I'll go first, right? And my opponent's done with their mulligan. They're going to go second, so I'm going to go to function step 1 and draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The person that's going first always have 6 cards in their hand, because they're going to start with 5 and they're going to draw for their function step 1. I just drew another ram, so we're going to place this one in the mid guard. We're going to end our turn since we can't do anything else. Our opponent's going to go. They're going to end their turn. Function step 2, we draw. And we're going to place this in the rear support, and we're going to deploy him. And in this one, I'm going to activate his command, which allows me to search my heaven for a beast with an OC3 or less. And this one, I'm going to get... I'll actually get my king. King Saul. I'm going to shuffle. Anytime that you go in your deck, you want to shuffle your deck afterwards, so people won't think you're cheating, for one, and plus it's a rule. Add that to your hand. And we're going to end our turn, because we already actually played our offering card. We played a beast. And we added the command, right? So now we're going to end our turn. It's going to be our opponent's turn. So we're going to place this here, standby, turn this to 3, move to standby turn, right? Now it's our opponent's go. They're going to go and conduct their draw phase, function step 1. Most likely, they're going to be able to place an offering card in the mid guard, deploy a beast, and attack me. I'm going to take 1, 2 damage. Anytime that you're attacked with the beast in the mid guard and you have no beast in your guard column, you take 2 damage. If you actually have a beast in your mid guard and your opponent attacks with their mid guard and that beast is defeated, you take 2 damage. Now, if the opponent actually has a beast in their mid guard and they attack your left or right guard column, they're going to do 1 damage, right? Even though the mid guard actually can attack all columns except the rear guard. The rear guard can never be attacked, but you can actually target this column with arsenal cards and or offering card abilities, right? So I took the damage. Now it's going to be my 3rd turn, and I draw. First things first, I am going to... Ooh, this is tough. Okay, first things first, we're going to move this over. We're going to play our lamb. Remember, this one here is obsolete. You're not going to see this when you buy the cards at all. because I actually created a newer lamb card for the new set. So unless you already own this one, you can still use it if you bought the original sets and the sets previous to this new one. But I made a new lamb card, so you're not going to find this one. So if you don't actually have the original sets, you're not going to actually get it. All right, here we go. Place the lamb, and we're going to deploy Abinadab. Abinadab was one of the brothers of Jonathan, and Jonathan was the son of King Saul. All right, so we're going to activate his command, which allows me to search for a beast with an offering cost of 2 or less that actually has Silver Wolf in its title. We're going to get another armor bearer of Jonathan and add to my hand. This actually builds up for defending. And I'm going to show you how to defend yourself during my next turn. Well, during my opponent's next turn, right? Now, once per turn, you can place a beast in your inward column and draw an additional card, just in case it's a card in your hand you don't need. I don't need that. And I get to draw 1 card additionally. Beautiful. All right. So the next thing I want to do, because my opponent has a higher skill than mine, I need to jack up my attack. So I'm going to arm my beast with an arsenal card. This is called a weapon. Now, weapons are activated differently. Some are free, some actually have costs because they have additional effects, abilities. So this one, in order for me to arm this to my beast, I have to discard a offering card from my hand. By doing so, arming him with that weapon card, his attack goes up to 1 by 1, and his offering cost goes up to 4. Remember, I was telling you, now his limit is 4. I can't, even if I actually put another sword on him, it won't do any good because his offering cost is already maxed at 4 because he's not a captain, right? If he was a captain or he was a royal, then his attack and offering cost can keep going higher. But because he's not, it limits his strength. But his attack is 3, his offering cost is 4, skill is 2. Most likely, any BC attacks, he can take it out now. So, first thing I want to do, though, is I'm going to activate a card called Knowledge of the Physician. And what this does is it increases my menorah life by +1 for every beast in my guard column. That's +1. That goes up by 1. Then this, because the ability is already activated, this goes to my grave. I'm going to move to my war step. This will allow me to attack. All right. So now that I've conducted my attack phase, defeating my opponent's beast, I move to function step 2. I look at my hand, there's nothing else I can do. Move to my end step, this turns to 4, and then I go to my standby phase, right? So let's say for instance, my opponent is now going to, let's say, activate an arsenal card, sends one of my offering cards back to my hand. They're going to target this one, which will destroy this beast, and this card goes with it, and this goes to my hand, which sucks. However, I still have a beast on the field, so it's not a problem, right? But any beast that is not supported goes to the grave. You can move offering cards on the field, but if you can also move offering cards out of their columns into other columns. But because you're not supported, he will go to the grave. But like I said, I'm gonna go to that in another video. Just want to show you how the function meter and everything goes and works. Now they're going to place another beast on the field, attack me in their mid guard, so I'll take 2 damage again. Now they're going to end their turn. I'm going to go into my turn 4, and I'm going to draw. Now watch what I can do. I'm going to place this back on the field in the mid guard, right? And then I'm going to move him forward. This is called an advance. This is called a retreat. This is called an advance. So any cards that are in the rear support and they go to the guard column, it's called an advance. But if it's in the guard column and it goes to the rear support, it's called the retreat. Okay, so I'm going to advance him to the mid guard. I'm going to Let's see. Yeah, he's going to move this to the rear, and I'm going to deploy King Saul. It's my 4th turn, so I can deploy him to the field. Now, he doesn't do anything for him per se, but he does help my captains out. If I actually have a David, David, Abner, or I forgot the Edomite's name, but if I have either one of them, let me see. Doeg. They gain +1 attack, +1 offering cost. All right, but seeing I don't actually have that, doesn't gain that ability. So I'm going to end my turn, seeing that I can't really do anything. So now my opponent is going to be like, okay, his attacks are weaker. I can take him out now. I attack. This is when you can block. Place a card from your hand into your shield column. This actually protects the beast being attacked. So how do you know that the shield stands? You're going to add the skill from the rear support and the skill of the blocking beast together. And those numbers go up to 6. That means any beast with an attack of 6 or less is blocked. Anything that exceeds 6, the attack still goes through. All right. So seeing that I actually block with him, this will go to the graveyard. Now it'll be my 5th turn. I draw. And look what I drew. I drew into the captain that I needed. All right. So I'm going to perform something called a retire. A retire is when you actually place it. You replace the beast in the guard column or anywhere on the field with a card in your hand with an offering cost higher than the one that's being retired. So this will go to the grave, and this one will take its place. Now, if I actually had this in my hand, this will be called a withdrawal, because this will actually replace him, but this will go to my hand instead. That's because the offering costs are the same, right? But seeing that his offering cost and Abner's offering costs are different, the one with the highest will actually take its place, while the other one will go to the grave. Alrighty. Now, because he's on the field and King Saul is on the field, King Saul grants him +1 attack and +1 offering cost. Now, I don't actually have to worry about my offering cost because my lamb gives me infinite support. I can support anything. So his attack becomes 4, offering cost becomes 5. And not only that, action commands can be activated, and by actually being supported by the lamb allows me to activate once per turn an action command for free. That's why you can only have one of these in your deck, of course. You can't have 2, 3, 4, no. You can only have one lamb and up to limit of 2 goats. All right, so my attack is 4. I'm going to move to the war step, and I'm going to swing at my opponent and take out their beast. Regardless of who I attack in the guard column, it's going to go through. Right now, move down to here, switch it, and then move to standby. Now I'm in the 6th turn. Now I'm going to skip my turn. I'm just going to draw this, stand this up, all of that. Yeah. So now, once I end my turn, this will go here and this will go here. See how that went? Because the limit is 6. Then you go into FX during your next turn. So now my opponent is going to go. They're going to end their turn because they really can't do anything. He's going to ascend, and I get to draw. All right, and now I'm going to place this here. I'm going to activate his FX command, because this command can only be activated during the FX turn, right? So as long as my turn marker is white, I can activate the white part of his command. It's called Liberation. And by doing so, I have to discard 2 cards from my hand, because he's not supported by the lamb, which that would have been cooler. But I discard 2 cards from my hand, and I can liberate a beast using his command from the inward column to the field, right? When this card is convoked or deployed, I get to search my heaven for a beast with an alpha cost of 3 or less and add them to my hand. So I'm going to get another Armor Bearer of Jonathan. And the reason why I would do that is because his stats are pretty low. So my opponent is most likely going to try to attack him to do more damage to me because they can't take him out. So I can use him as a blocker. He goes in my hand, right? So now I look at my field. I say, okay, his attack is 4, his attack is 2. He gives him power. And not only that, I could activate his action commands. However, I don't have the cost. I only got 1 card in my hand. To activate action commands, you have to discard 2 cards from hand. So I'm going to move to the war step. I'm going to attack their beast, and then I get to attack their camp. By him not being in the mid guard, he only does 1 damage. However, this attacking with him, I did 2 damage. So that's 3 damage in 1 turn. So now you know how to get to the FX. You know how to use your function meter. You know how many cards go in the deck. And remember, the deck limit for captains is 3 for standard beasts. Now you can have an additional 3 as long as they're UGs to go in your deck. And CMs are their separate thing. So if you actually have CM captains, you can only have up to 3. They follow the same rule. You can only have up to 3 in a deck. And this is considered its own deck. All right. So you know how to play Shalom. You know how to set up for the game. So hopefully you enjoyed that tutorial. And of course, I'm going to actually show you how to move offering cards on the field, move beasts on the field, activate different levels of arsenal cards that go here, how to actually place UGs in your UG column to draw additional cards, how to play them as well in other videos. So stay tuned. Shalom. Hopefully I see you in the next video.